Welcome back to day 2 of 3 of dry camping with lithium batteries. Now, if this is your first time to our channel, we have never owned lithium batteries before. We've never done this amount of dry camping before, and we have a lot to share with you. Welcome.
Morning.
It's a cold one here in Alaska, and the whole premise of this video is to show that we can do this while being conservative and living somewhat of normal lives, but being off-grid.
I heard you say something as I was coming out that we've never did this much dry camping before. But we did. We did that dry camping on the beach with our friends.
Oh, you're right.
But we had just the one 12-volt lead acid battery. But in that instance, we were camping, not glamping. You know what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is we were spending more time outdoors than what we're doing right now, trying to live like normal people.
Yeah, because we're full-time on the road. We don't have this thing to go camping. This is our house. I am very surprised at where our battery levels are.
Yeah, me too.
And we need to share it with you. But I do think first we should show them our actual setup because we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, that would be a little unfair to lay out all this information without going into a little bit of detail about what we're rocking out on the road. Come with us, let's show you. Come on, take a step into our office here. Watch your head, because that will get you.
Wow!
Welcome to the den of secrets. Please don't judge us with the mess though. It's a work in progress. Now looking behind me, it's a rat's nest, and it's a little overwhelming if you're anything like me. But need not worry, if I can understand this, we'll help you to understand this. Starting off, we do have 2 lithium batteries. They are from Lion Energy, and they are 105 amp hour batteries. They both come with these battery warmers because lithium batteries actually, they're not really good in cold weather. And we're talking really cold weather. So for your normal camping out in the rain, kind of fall seasons, you're gonna be okay. But more towards the winter time when it's snowing, you might have a little bit more concern, and that's where these battery warmers, they kick in great. And what good would batteries be without a battery charger? So up here we have a mounted battery charger, and boy, let me just say, we learned a really valuable lesson yesterday. I can't wait to share that story with you. The purpose of the battery charger is to charge your batteries, but let me explain a little bit more. When you buy an RV and you take it to a campsite and you plug it into the electric, you have something that's called a converter, which is really similar to what the battery charger is. It converts the power from the electrical pedestal into usable energy for the batteries so that they can recharge. Without the battery charger, the batteries would be depleted and have no way of getting recharged back up. I'm already getting overwhelmed with my mind. Nay, why don't you take the next couple, because there is a lot of wires and I don't know what to do with myself.
Wow. What a hole. Moving right along, we also have a charge controller, and that basically takes the charge from the solar panels and charges the batteries when there's sunlight, which we don't really have this weekend, so perfect. This bad boy up top here is our power inverter, which is the thing I'm most excited about. This guy allows us to take energy, basically power from our batteries, and converts it to AC power. So 12 volt power to 120 volt power. That is right, we can now use the outlets in our RV. It is a 2000 watt inverter, so basically can't run things that have a running wattage over 2000, which is fine because a lot of your appliances inside, as long as you're running just that one appliance, can be powered with this inverter.
Yeah, I'm kind of following what you're saying, but I'm still new to it as well. Like, what all can we run in the RV? Because I was really confused coming out here. Were we going to be able to run the TV and the air conditioner and the coffee maker? Help me.
Typically, your air conditioning units need about 22 to 2400 watts to get going. That's a no-no for the ACs, but that's okay because our plan is to do a lot of dry camping where we don't need to run the air conditioner. For the microwave, most microwaves run at about 1800 watts, and our coffee maker is around 13 to 1500 watts. So as long as you're not running other appliances, you can get that Keurig on and you can make yourself a cup of coffee and then turn it off.
We went into this knowing that we don't have the biggest, baddest setup out there, and that's exactly the way we want it. And the reason being is because if we were to invest all this energy and time into getting the most amazing setup that can last forever and handle everything, what good would that be for us and you in learning? So we started small, and we're going to take this one step at a time and figure out what controls what. How much of this do you need to run that? and go from there.
I love that because we're starting small and we could always add to our collection here. We can always upgrade our inverter. We can always add more batteries. If you want a setup that can run your entire rig, meaning like 30 or 50 amps worth of power, it's gonna cost you $10,000 or maybe $15,000 worth of solar panels, batteries. Just one lithium battery can cost anywhere from $600 to $1,000. So you gotta imagine if you have just enough of a battery bank to do all that, it adds up. We wanna start small. We wanna see how comfortably we can live with just 2 lithium batteries and a 2000 watt inverter. Because a lot of you guys out there really wanna do some boondocking to save money. But what is saving money when you're investing like $15,000 into a setup that you might not even need? I'm very passionate about this. Now, how do you get the inverted power from your inverter into your RV? A lot of people do go the route where they wire it through into their breaker box in the back. We could have did that, but we decided let's really start small and inexpensive, because what we're learning is the more convenience you want, where you don't really have to go out and move and plug things in, the more money it costs. Convenience costs money. Let's say it together, guys. Convenience costs money. Let's not do that, and let's get a bunch of dog bone adapters and just plug it right into the rig and go from there. Yes, it's a pain in the butt to have to get these dog bone adapters out and get your plug without just doing a simple switch. But hey, some people don't have the money to do those setups.
And a little cherry on top of that whipped cream you just laid down. I want to say we're only doing this because it works for us. We're not suggesting that you go this route. It's just showing you a little insight to see what are we working with this weekend. This is behind the scenes of how the Hanks are doing it.
So how we're getting power into the RV. We went the route of getting a heavy duty 15 amp plug and matching that with the 15 amp dog bone adapter to a 50 amp and basically just plugging that into the side of the rig. Is this 100% safe for anyone to do? I don't know. We've seen other people do this on YouTube, so we're following suit. So I don't want to sit here and tell you guys that this is like the safest route to go. We're doing it. We're going to see how it works out. We've been checking the cables every so often to make sure nothing's getting too hot or looks like it's melting. Attempt all of this at your own risk because we are not professionals.
Now, bringing you guys in here a little bit more with me, I did want to touch on one last point, and this is where all that rat's nest comes into play. These 2 doohickeys right here are known as bus bars, which is your positive for red and your negative for black. And what it does is, you know how on a car battery, you connect the terminal there and you screw it in with a little lug nut? That takes that one terminal and distributes the power throughout this whole bar. That way you're not having like 5, 8, 10 different connections sitting on one terminal. It's dispersed throughout the bar. Kind of helps prevent fires, overheating, stuff like that. Keep the black with the black, the red with the red, and make sure you don't have any fires. That's a good way to go about it. Does that make sense? I hope so. That's the way it made sense to me. Oh, and where are my manners? I forgot we gotta talk about the solar panels. Watch my head. Ow, my headache. So each of these bad boys are 100 watt 12 volt solar panels. So I guess you could look at it and say it's 200 watts altogether. We're still getting our bearings with these, but something that we've learned that we really like about them is that they're portable. The reason why we like that is because if you were to get them installed on top of your RV, you would always constantly have that pressure of finding a place with no tree coverage. Having these, however, gives you the flexibility to set them wherever the sun is shining down. Lovely Alaska has been a lot of cloud coverage since we've been up here, and we're not seeing these work to their maximum efficiency. However, with them being portable, it doesn't cover you on all scenarios. Getting them out can be a pain, finding extra storage and having the additional weight in your underpass. They're about 15 pounds each. So you're always having to get them out, having them exposed to weather, drying them off, storing them. It could just be a pain after a while.
So because we don't have the fanciest dry camping setup, we had to create a little checklist of things to power off and switch on, yada yada, before we actually plug the inverter into the RV. The refrigerator, switching that to propane mode. The first time we did this, we were at a Boondockers Welcome. Well, actually it was a Harvest Host, a golf course. And we were wondering why there was so much draw as soon as we hooked up without anything running. And it's because the refrigerator is on auto and it switched to AC as soon as we plugged in, thinking that we were on normal shore power. What we have to do to fix that is just switch it to LP mode. And on top of that, we also unplugged that little refrigerator fan in the back because, I don't know, it's just extra power that we might not need, and we don't feel 100% comfortable running that fan with propane on in the back. We also like to unplug certain appliances that we always keep plugged in inside the rig. We have a vacuum cleaner. Our Dyson is plugged into, I'm pretty sure where you would plug in a dryer if you had one. We just unplug that because it's just unnecessary draw that we don't need to worry about. On top of that, you can also unplug your TVs. We have a Bose soundbar that we like to unplug. Now, we did learn that does not draw as much wattage as you think, so it's not 100% necessary to unplug those things, but if you're about saving all the power, you can. Let me see, just going down the checklist. Oh, this is a really important one. Our surge protector has the option of being switched to bypass mode, which is something we learned we had to do. When we first tried out our inverter and had everything all fancy plugged in, nothing happened. There's no power. And we quickly learned that the surge protector will not safely allow power to go to the RV because it doesn't register the inverter with the batteries as safe. I don't know. So luckily on our surge protector, we have a little switch that allows us to bypass it. Kicked right on. So if you guys have a surge protector and you plug in the way we do and nothing's working, that might be why. There's one more thing that we now have to add to our checklist, and I'm pretty sure it's the reason our batteries are at the level they are at. I think we both need to talk to you guys about this.
Story time. I love story time. Once upon a time,
AKA yesterday,
we pulled up into our campsite and our batteries were draining so quickly.
Like after we plugged into the inverter.
Yes. I'm like, I don't think they're supposed to be draining this fast.
It was running like 120 watts. And of course, we're fairly new to this.
Just to give you a little idea of how fast it's fast, we're talking a couple percentages within 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's not good if you're trying to boondock an entire weekend out here. Going back to when we were talking about the battery charger, that was the key component we're talking about here, because it ended up being, what do you call it? Like a loop cycle.
Like this vicious power cycle.
When the batteries were off charging whatever they were wanting to use for the AC power, the AC power was going back into the battery charger, and the battery charger was trying to take its own power, it was offsetting, and re-engage it into the batteries. So it was like loop cycle hardcore. Does that make sense?
So just having that battery charger plugged in, whatever wattage it was using to do this vicious cycle was drawing too much power in general. I'm surprised it didn't drain it more than it did.
I know. I walked out here and I just heard this thing ripping. It was like, wah, like fans were going off. It was kicking on, really trying to work hard. So I simply unplugged the battery charger because it's like, that doesn't make sense. We're not trying to charge the batteries out here. We're trying to deplete them.
Stuff like this, just you forget about it. It goes over your head. You don't think twice about it. But it's on the checklist now. What should you take away from this little story? Create a checklist for anything you do in the RV life.
What do you say we go enjoy the rest of this day?
Yes.
It's cold, but I want to take a hike.
Yes.
Go see if we could see some nature.
100% yes.
I'm in it. Let's do it.
Wait a second. Before we go on our hike, we do have some data to share with you. As you remember, when we got here yesterday, our batteries were the high 90s. They were fully charged. After our little debacle with the battery charger, they were already down to the low 80s. Fast forward to the evening time, we were at around 60% for the batteries. And this morning, we're looking at 50%. Don't worry, by the end of this, we're gonna be sharing kind of how our living situation has been, because everybody glamps different, everyone lives differently. So we've been writing down and keeping track of all the things we've been powering and roughly how long. So you have an idea of what this lifestyle is like and how you could live with our setup. Okay, now it's time to go hike.
How did you sleep?
I slept really, really good. I never realized how noisy RV parks are when you're trying to sleep. until you come to a place like this where it's just so quiet. Like, I feel like I'm talking too loud. It's that quiet.
Yeah, I love being out here. This is incredible. I could get used to this.
I guess the easiest way to put this, where we're not really sure what's going on, our batteries say 3% and 6% on the app, but if you check the battery levels themselves, like right on the batteries, it says 20%. So we don't really know what level the batteries are at, and the biggest concern we have is that we don't have a way to recharge them if they die. There's no one even out here to help us. I don't know what we're gonna do because we still have to put the slides in, we still have to hook up. And supposedly the amount of energy and power that these jacks need is a lot. I guess this is the first time in 6 years of RVing that I feel like a generator is necessary.
And I assume you're saying that because you feel a little out of control with the battery situation. It's not as simple as just hooking it up to the truck and letting that trickle charge. Because unfortunately, like you said, the jacks require more power than what the truck is able to trickle charge the batteries with. So I would have to agree, I foresee a generator coming in our near future, just so that we can continue this journey of documenting how the batteries will work and being able to deplete them all the way without having to be concerned of being stranded.
It's a peace of mind thing with the generator, which I feel like is why a lot of people say you should have one. Now, if we did have a generator, we could be out here another night or two. Like, we could just charge the batteries back up.
Yeah.
Because the solar ain't doing it. I'd be curious to how the solar would do if it was really, really sunny out.
I think it would have helped a lot. Unfortunately, with all this rain this weekend, it didn't help at all. I mean, at best, it was able to just offset how much we were depleting the batteries, where it says we weren't using any wattage at all. So it helped just a little bit, but it never got to the point of being powerful enough to actually replenish the batteries or charge them back up. Well, I think we need to get it done sooner than later. They're dying as we're speaking, so let's try to get hooked up. Fingers crossed the slides will go in, and fingers crossed this will actually return to hitch height, because if not, we'll have no way of hooking up the truck. You get Stinky Butt, and I'll just kind of wrap up a couple things here.
Okay.
Game plan.
FYI, once we get hooked up, I'm going to share with you kind of the way we've been living this past weekend. I have a whole spreadsheet I'm going to share with what appliances we've been running and about how long. And I'm also going to share how much this setup costs. Let's just do one at a time. Let's retract the back ones because we kind of wedged those blocks under there pretty good for the sake of leveling. Here we go.
Here we go.
Whew.
Is that it? That's all it went up. It barely went up. It's still on, but...
What do you think? Good enough?
Yeah, I think so. It's up and it's on still. You may have to kind of do some micro adjustments as I'm backing up, but...
Yes! We're hooked up and we're ready to go. There you have it. The 2 lithium batteries with a 2,000 watt inverter did last this weekend, but Nene's gonna suggest if you do a test like this, you either have a generator just in case, or you run this test while you're hooked up at an RV park so you always have a backup. As promised, here is the spreadsheet that is a list of everything we've been running this weekend. We did not run the microwave or the Keurig. I don't know, we just felt nervous about running those. We weren't sure how much they were gonna drain, so this is why I'm saying practice with your inverter and your batteries, running big appliances while you're hooked up in an RV park to see how long you can last. If you're curious to how much this setup cost, we'll also throw that right here below because that's the biggest factor of this all. You're gonna wanna stay tuned because this is not the first set of tests we're gonna run with this setup. We're gonna see how many days we can last if we do have something to back us up like a generator. And we're also gonna see where we can venture off into some cool boondocking spots. So if you're not already, you wanna make sure you're subscribed so you can stay tuned for these continuous tests and these adventures. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week.